What if the biggest health warnings your body sends after 75 aren't the loud, obvious pains, but the quiet, subtle shifts we all tend to dismiss as just getting older? So many seniors feel like they've been blindsided when their health takes a sudden downturn. But the truth is, the body often sends quiet warnings for years, sometimes even decades in advance. What if you could learn to hear those whispers right now and actually understand what they mean for your future? After age 75, your body doesn't just age, it undergoes a series of critical shifts. 5 of these changes start to speed up, and most people, sometimes even doctors, don't see them coming until it's too late. Here's the uncomfortable truth. How you handle these changes is one of the biggest factors in whether you stay independent and full of life or become frail and dependent. In this video, we're not going to dwell on the usual aches and pains. We're going to uncover the 5 most critical and often silent body changes that catch most seniors off guard. More importantly, we'll reveal what they really mean for your longevity and what you can do, starting today, to take back control. This isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. It's about knowing what's coming so you can be the one to act first. Before we jump in, just a quick reminder, the information here is for educational purposes and is not a substitute for medical advice. Always chat with your own healthcare provider about any health concerns or before making changes to your routine.
Section 1. The silent shrinking of your strength. The first change that quietly undermines the health of so many seniors is the rapid loss of muscle and strength, a condition called sarcopenia. You might notice it as a little extra effort to get out of a comfy chair, or that a jar of pickles seems screwed on tighter than it used to. Most people just think this kind of weakness is a normal, unavoidable part of aging, but here's what they don't realize. This isn't just about feeling a bit weaker. Sarcopenia is a huge predictor of how well you'll weather the coming years. After 75, muscle loss can speed up dramatically. Studies show that around this age, muscle strength can drop by 3 to 4% a year for men and 2.5 to 3% for women. You don't just lose muscle mass, you lose actual muscle fibers, which often get replaced by fibrous tissue that can't help you move. This is sarcopenia, and it's estimated to affect anywhere from 11 to a whopping 50% of people over 80. So why is this so critical for your longevity? Think of your muscles as your body's armor. They're what help you get up after a fall. They power your lungs to take deep breaths, helping you fight off infections like pneumonia. They support your skeleton, keeping you balanced and standing tall. When your muscles weaken, your ability to recover from any health challenge, an illness, an infection, or a surgery is drastically reduced. Studies have confirmed that sarcopenia is linked to a much higher risk of mortality from all causes. It's not about lifting heavy weights, it's about having the physical reserves to bounce back. And here's the tension. Most people don't get how fast it can happen. Just a few days of being inactive, maybe sick in bed with the flu, can set off a cascade of muscle loss that leads to long-term mobility issues. That period of rest, which feels so necessary, can silently steal the very strength you need to stay independent. But here's the empowering part, the truth that changes everything. This decline is not inevitable. Research suggests at least half of all age-related muscle loss comes from simple disuse, not the aging process itself. That means you have a ton of power to fight back.
Your best tool is resistance exercise. This doesn't mean you need to start bodybuilding. It just means gently challenging your muscles. Chair squats, practicing standing up and sitting down from a chair without using your hands, are fantastic for leg strength. You can do wall push-ups or use lightweight resistance bands, which are a great low-impact tool. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services suggests muscle-strengthening activities at least 2 times a week. The other half of the equation is protein. As we age, our bodies get less efficient at turning protein into muscle, so you need to supply enough building blocks. Try to include a protein source with every meal: lean chicken, fish, eggs, Greek yogurt, or plant-based options like beans, lentils, and tofu. Spreading your protein out through the day works much better than eating it all at once. Think of your muscles as your physical retirement account. You want to keep making small, consistent deposits with activity and nutrition. That way, when you need to make a withdrawal to fight an illness or recover from a setback, you'll have more than enough strength in reserve. You have more control over your strength than you think, and it starts by recognizing that weakness isn't just a feeling, it's a warning sign you now know how to answer.
Section 2. The invisible weakening of your framework. The second change that catches so many by surprise is the silent, invisible loss of bone density. You might notice you've lost an inch or two in height, and maybe you laugh it off as a harmless part of getting older. But that shrinking stature is a quiet alarm, signaling that something much more serious is happening to your bones. After 75, bone loss can pick up speed. For women, this is especially true after menopause, but it absolutely affects men too. Our bodies are constantly remodeling bone, breaking down old bone and building new. But after our 50s, we start losing bone faster than we can replace it. When that loss is mild, it's called osteopenia, and when it becomes severe, it's osteoporosis, a disease that makes bones weak and brittle. It's shockingly common. Some estimates suggest about 1 in 3 women between 75 and 85 have it. The honeycomb structure inside your bones gets bigger gaps, and the outer walls get thinner, making them dangerously fragile. Why is this so critical for your longevity? Because the end game for osteoporosis is a fracture. And for a senior, a fracture is rarely a simple injury. A hip fracture is sometimes called the last fracture for a reason. It's a leading cause of disability and death in older adults. A single fall can set off a devastating chain of events. Long stretches of immobility can lead to blood clots and pneumonia, and the loss of mobility often means a permanent loss of independence. Even small fractures in the spine can happen without a fall, causing chronic pain and that stooped posture we often associate with old age. The connection is clear. Weak bones dramatically increase your risk of a life-altering event. The tension is that you can lose a huge amount of bone density without a single symptom. You don't feel your bones getting weaker. There's no pain, no warning, until the moment you fall and something breaks. But again, this is where you can feel empowered. You are not helpless here. Just like with your muscles, a huge part of your bone health is within your control, even after 75. Your first line of defense is weight-bearing exercise. Your bones are living tissue, and they get stronger when you put them to work. This means any activity where you're on your feet, working against gravity. Brisk walking is fantastic. So are dancing, climbing stairs, or gardening. The key is just to be on your feet and moving. Aiming for at least 30 minutes of this kind of activity on most days sends a constant signal to your body to keep those bones strong.
Next up are the right nutrients: calcium and vitamin D. Your bones are built from calcium, and you need vitamin D to absorb it. Many older adults don't get enough of either. Great calcium sources include dairy, fortified cereals, and dark leafy greens like kale. For vitamin D, our main source is sunlight, but our skin gets less efficient at making it as we age. Fatty fish like salmon help, but many doctors recommend a vitamin D supplement, often paired with calcium, for older adults. And this is non-negotiable. Talk to your doctor about your bone health. They can recommend a bone density scan, a simple painless test to see how strong your bones really are. This is especially important for women over 65 and men over 70. Think of your skeleton as the frame of your house. You wouldn't wait for the walls to crumble before you check the foundation. By being proactive with exercise and nutrition, you're actively maintaining that foundation, ensuring your framework stays strong enough to support you for years to come.
Section 3. The slowing of your engine.
The third critical change that often goes unnoticed is the gradual decline of your cardiovascular system. You might find you can't walk up a flight of stairs as easily without getting winded, or that your heart pounds a little harder after bringing in the groceries. It's easy to think, well, my engine is just getting older. But here's the truth. While some changes are normal, what you're feeling could be a sign that your body's most vital pump is working under strain and needs your help. After 75, several things happen to the heart and blood vessels. The heart's walls can thicken, the chambers might not fill with blood as efficiently, and the valves can get stiffer. Most importantly, your arteries become less flexible, a bit like an old brittle garden hose instead of a new pliable one. This stiffness forces your heart to work much harder to pump blood, which often leads to high blood pressure. Why does this matter so much? Because heart disease is the #1 cause of death for people 65 and older. Recent data for this age group shows that it's responsible for over 900 deaths per 100,000 people. These age-related changes directly increase your risk for a heart attack, stroke, or heart failure. In fact, about 2/3 of all deaths from cardiovascular disease happen in people aged 75 and older. This isn't just some background risk. It's the single greatest threat to a long and healthy life in this age group. And here's the tension. Many of these changes are silent. Plaque can build up in your arteries for decades with zero symptoms. Your blood pressure can be dangerously high without you feeling a thing. That feeling of being a bit more out of breath is easy to dismiss, but it could be your heart telling you it's struggling. But once again, this is your chance to take charge. A huge amount of research shows that these cardiovascular changes can be slowed down and in some cases even improved with simple lifestyle choices. The most powerful thing you can do is get moving. Gentle aerobic exercise is a miracle worker for your heart. Things like brisk walking, swimming, or cycling help keep your arteries flexible and control your blood pressure. The goal is 150 minutes of moderate activity a week. That's just over 20 minutes a day. And it's truly never too late to start. Your diet is just as crucial. A heart-healthy eating plan, like the Mediterranean or DASH diet, can have a profound impact. This just means focusing on fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins while cutting back on processed foods, salt, and unhealthy fats. These diets are proven to help lower blood pressure and cholesterol. Finally, managing other health conditions is key. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes all put extra strain on your heart, so work with your doctor to keep them under control. And it probably goes without saying, but if you smoke, quitting is the single best thing you can do for your heart. Think of your cardiovascular system as a whole network of highways. You want to keep those roads clear, wide, and flexible. By choosing to move your body and feed it well, you're actively maintaining that vital network, making sure your engine can run smoothly for the long haul. We're about to cover our final 2 changes, which involve the sharpness of your mind and the efficiency of your body's internal systems. If you're finding this information helpful, take a quick second to hit that subscribe button. It's a small click for you, but it makes a huge difference for us and lets us keep creating empowering content just like this. Thank you. Now let's get back to it. Section 4. The fading of your senses and thoughts. The fourth change is one of the most feared and misunderstood, the subtle shifts in our brain and nerves. You might find yourself searching for a name that's on the tip of your tongue or asking people to repeat themselves more often. Many people either joke about having a senior moment or become terrified it's the start of dementia. The truth is more nuanced, and understanding it is key to protecting your brain. As we age, our brains do change. Certain parts might shrink a bit, and the communication between nerve cells can slow down.
It's normal for your 75-year-old brain not to process things as quickly as your 30-year-old brain, just like your legs don't run as fast. However, one of the most significant and overlooked changes is sensory decline, especially hearing loss. By age 75, about half of all adults have significant hearing loss. And here's what most people don't know. Untreated hearing loss isn't just an inconvenience, it's a major risk factor for dementia. Research from Johns Hopkins found that even mild hearing loss doubled the risk of dementia. Moderate loss tripled it, and severe loss increased the risk by 5 times. Why is the connection so strong? One theory is cognitive load. When you're constantly straining to hear, your brain has to work overtime just to process sound, diverting resources away from memory and thinking. Another huge factor is social isolation. When you can't follow conversations, you're more likely to withdraw from social events. That isolation is a well-known risk factor for both depression and accelerated cognitive decline. The tension here is huge. You might think struggling to hear in a restaurant is just a normal part of getting older, but that hearing loss could be silently starving your brain of stimulation and fast-tracking its decline.
But this is where the path forward is incredibly clear and empowering. Addressing these sensory changes is one of the most effective things you can do to protect your brain. If you or your loved ones notice you're struggling to hear, the first step is a hearing test. There's still a stigma around hearing aids for some people, but a hearing aid is a tool for engagement. It lets you stay connected to the people you love. Wearing a hearing aid isn't a sign of being old. Withdrawing from life because you can't hear is. Beyond that, the principle of use it or lose it is everything for brain health. Keep challenging your mind. This could be crossword puzzles, reading about new subjects, learning an instrument, or playing strategy games like chess or bridge. Mentally stimulating activities are a key lifestyle factor shown to lower the risk of developing Alzheimer's. And never, ever underestimate the power of social connection. Make it a priority to spend time with friends and family. Join a club, volunteer, take a class. Conversation is a complex workout for your brain. It involves listening, processing, recalling information, and forming a response in real time. Your mind isn't a fixed object. It's a dynamic system. By addressing sensory decline and committing to a life of mental and social engagement, you are actively building a more resilient and sharper brain for the future. Section 5. The disruption of your inner workings. The fifth and final change is one we don't always like to discuss, but it has a huge impact on our daily lives: the decline in our digestive and metabolic function. You might be more prone to constipation or find that certain foods now cause indigestion. Maybe you feel full faster or have to plan your day around trips to the bathroom. These can feel like embarrassing inconveniences, but they're actually signs that your body's internal systems are losing efficiency, which can affect everything from your nutrition to your activity level. As we get older, our entire digestive system tends to slow down. The movement of food through the intestines becomes less efficient, which is a big reason constipation is so common. Our metabolism slows, and our ability to absorb certain nutrients can decrease. At the same time, the bladder can lose elasticity, and its supporting muscles can weaken, leading to issues like urinary frequency or incontinence. Why does this matter so much for longevity? It all comes down to nutrition and activity. When you have a poor appetite or feel bloated, you're less likely to eat enough. This can lead straight to malnutrition, robbing your muscles of protein and your bones of calcium. Malnutrition is a direct pathway to frailty. On top of that, bladder issues can have a devastating effect.
The fear of an accident can lead people to drink less, which causes dehydration and makes constipation even worse. It also makes people less likely to leave the house, leading directly to the dangerous muscle loss and social isolation we've already talked about. It's a vicious cycle of decline. The tension is that these are often seen as private, embarrassing problems, not serious medical warnings. But poor appetite, constipation, and incontinence are signs that your core systems are struggling, and they are actively robbing you of the nutrition and activity you need to thrive. But just like with everything else, there is so much you can do. For digestive health, fiber and water are your two best friends. Fiber keeps things moving. You can find it in whole grains, fruits, vegetables, beans, and nuts. And water is essential to help the fiber do its job. Regular movement is also a powerful stimulant for your digestive system. A simple daily walk can help ease constipation. If your appetite is low, try eating smaller, more frequent meals.
For bladder health, don't fall into the trap of drinking less. Instead, focus on strengthening the muscles that support it. Pelvic floor exercises, known as Kegels, can be incredibly effective for both men and women. A doctor or physical therapist can show you how. And most importantly, talk to your doctor. Solutions exist that can restore your confidence and freedom. Your digestive and urinary systems are the foundation that allows you to nourish your body and engage with the world. By taking these simple steps, you're ensuring that this foundation remains solid, allowing you to stay active, nourished, and independent. So, when you step back and look at these 5 changes, the shrinking of your strength, the weakening of your bones, the slowing of your heart, the fading of your senses, and the disruption of your internal systems, you start to see a pattern. These aren't 5 separate issues. They're all deeply connected. A loss of strength makes you more likely to fall, and weak bones make that fall more likely to cause a fracture. A struggling heart makes it harder to exercise, which speeds up both muscle and bone loss. Hearing loss leads to isolation, which can make you less likely to be active and eat well. It's a web, where one weak strand puts stress on all the others. But the most important message today isn't about fear. It's about profound empowerment. For every single one of these changes, the solution is remarkably similar. Move your body, nourish it well, stay engaged with the world, and partner with your doctor. These changes are not a sentence of decline. They are signals. They're your body's way of telling you where it needs a little more support. The seniors who thrive long past 75, the ones who stay vibrant and strong into their 80s and 90s, aren't just the lucky ones. They're the ones who knew what was coming and acted first. They learned to listen to the whispers, so they never had to hear the screams. You have that knowledge now. You know what to listen for. The power to write your next chapter is truly in your hands. Thank you for spending this time with us today. We have a question for the wise and experienced community watching this. Which of these 5 changes have you noticed most in your own life or in a loved one? And what simple steps have you found that help? Please share your wisdom in the comments below. Your experience could be exactly what someone else needs to read today. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with a friend or family member. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more content dedicated to helping you live a long, healthy, and vibrant life. Thanks for watching.